Interview the teacher Barbara Ann from Tech Millennium Villahermosa. So these are the questions. What countries were the world leaders during this period of the Cold War?
In the Cold War, there was Russia, United States, China hasn't ascended yet, and obviously Europe, but mainly the United States and Russia.
Okay, thank you. Now, why did countries who were allies during the wars became enemies afterwards?
Well, that's okay. I was born in 1959, so in both World War I and World War II, you had Japan attacked the United States in World War II, and Germany, Hitler tried to take over the world, and he obviously he went against Poland, France, Spain, Africa. He invaded Africa, and we were allies with. Actually, we weren't really allies, but with Russia and with Europe, of course. And everybody was living fairly peacefully until Hitler decided to take over the world and started to annihilate all the Jews. Then, once the war ended, because Russia and the United States and Britain, I'm sorry, I forgot Britain, were the principal players. I forgot Britain. They divided Germany, and they divided it into 3 sections. Then Germany saw that the Americans and the British were prospering more, so they built a wall because they did not like how everybody was comparing everything in Russia to, is what my history book said. And so the wall went up, and the wall remained for many years until Reagan, my President Reagan, brought down the wall. And that was a big thing because they would shoot people, kill people trying to cross over from the Russian side from the west side to the east side to the west side, because the east was communist and the west was obviously capitalist, and so it was a big problem. And well, we had nuclear bombs. Hiroshima, after the Japanese, who were very vicious, and they were very good at warfare, very disciplined. The only way to stop them, we set off a bomb, the first atomic bomb in Hiroshima, and that ended the war. But it was their internment camps and the way they treated the prisoners was terrible. It was awful. I'm sorry, but in the United States, we don't do that. I mean, you hear about this, but I'm sorry. Other countries do worse, far worse things, atrocities, than we have ever done in my lifetime.
So we're going to pass the next question.
Okay.
Where did the Cold War take place?
The Cold War took place in Europe. The Cold War was, like I told you, we're supposed to go out because it's a fire drill. The Cold War, the Germans built the Russians built the war to separate the West from the East. They owned the East, and the capital, United States, Britain, owned the West. And so those were the principal countries.
What opinion did the general public have of the Cold War?
Well, when I was a child, and I grew up through the Cold War, not through the war, but we had a saying, better dead than red, which meant better, you didn't want to be a communist, you're better off dead. And Cuba was part of them. Cuba became part of Russia as far as alliances go. And we just didn't really, we knew there was a separation between West and the East Germans. And the East Germans were always trying to escape to the West. And we encouraged them. I mean, we always hoped that they had success because Russia was very hard-lined, and of course China was coming into power too, and they were as communistic and even probably worse than Russia.
Okay. What type of weapons did the two world powers have at their disposal?
They, well, we had bombs, you had the fighters, they You also, no atomic bombs were used, but it was always a threat that because the Russians also had atomic bombs after we had bombed Hiroshima, everybody had, well, the powers did. But just normal bombs, aircraft, hand to hand. It's terrible.
Yeah.
There's some really great war movies. There's one about a horse also, and it was a horrible. Many people died. It was really terrible. All wars are terrible.
Thank you, teacher, for the time.
Yes, you're welcome.